everybody, this is your boy Ced Banner, and this is my review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So of course, the first installment, Guardians of the Galaxy, which came out about, I believe it was 3 years ago, was a huge, massive hit for Marvel Studios. And when word started coming out that they were making it and a few little sneak peeks had been released, I was very skeptical, very nervous about it, because that was one of those comics that I just did not believe could be brought to the screen in the form of live action and be done so successfully. Well, of course, director James Gunn, along with Marvel Studios, proved me wrong. They did an awesome job. They created a film that I didn't really think could be done, and not as successfully as it was done. A huge favorite of mine, especially in my household. It gets watched probably 3 times a month here. So of course, with the sequel coming, we knew it was coming. I was hoping that they would be able to get it done without dropping the ball, and without really changing up the tone too much and losing the magic that was created with the first installment. So let's start off with the acting. Acting, I feel like, was awesome on everyone's part. Chris Pratt, of course, continues to play Star-Lord, and I feel like he did him as well as he did in the first one, but he evolved the character somewhat, and gave him a little more depth, and did so in a great way. Zoe Saldana, of course, I always say she's just great to look at, but she did an awesome job. Dave Bautista, I believe that's how you say his last name, Bautista, yeah. He, as Drax the Destroyer, got a lot more screen time and a lot more lines, and I loved it. He was really a star. He stood out in this installment. Of course, it's no secret that the great Kurt Russell is in this film. It's no secret, they tell you in the trailer, he is the father of Star-Lord. That's all I'll really say about his character, though, because he is he holds a pivotal role in the film, so I'll leave that at that. But Kurt Russell, as always, does a great job. He was perfectly cast, I feel, and his chemistry on screen with Christopher Pratt was just on point. I loved it. The star power here was just great, and there are a lot of surprise cameos as well. Probably a handful of them, actually, but I loved each one of them, and it really broadens where they can go with the storylines within this franchise. And lastly, as far as acting goes, Michael Rooker is the true revelation here. Of course, he plays Yondu. I can't say a lot about him either, other than he kills it. He really kills it, all the way up until the end of the film. He was definitely, outside of Dave Bautista, was the star here and really stood out to me, and I just really loved him in this role. He gave an awesome performance. Overall, I give the acting a huge round of applause, a standing ovation. Storyline. Didn't really know where it was gonna go. Of course, we're all looking for connections, of course, to the upcoming Avengers sequel, the Infinity Wars. What I really loved about this film, I'll go ahead and say, is that this film isn't ruled by that. One of my complaints, especially within Marvel and their films, is when a film is leading to something else, they spend so much time and energy focusing on what's coming up and throwing out hints and, foreshadowing, that it takes away from what you're watching at that time and what's happening at that time. Director James Gunn, who also did the writing here, does just a superb job of making this film matter on its own. You don't care that there's anything else coming up. The storyline's great. It gets very intricate. Continuations from the first installment. I guess you would say what's happening with the characters and the things they're facing really get deeper. Yeah, I'm trying not to, like I said, say too much about it, but man, I was really impressed with the storyline, and it doesn't lose you. I mean, it's just a lot going on, a lot of things intertwining, but it was really superb. So kudos to the writing and directing here. As far as the action goes, with Marvel, you're going to get plenty of that. The action I thought was top notch, and of course with this type of storyline and this franchise, there's a lot of green screen. You know, there's a lot of CGI, and usually in these films that can really just water down everything to where you don't really care what's happening. But this is so submersive, and I saw it in IMAX 3D. Well worth it. I mean, it's very submersive and realistic to where you forget that pretty much everything you're watching is computer generated. Very realistic. Kudos to the special effects team. Awesome job there as well. And the soundtrack, of course, that was a huge star in the first installment. It gets better, in my opinion. It gets better. It moves up some, of course, as far as the time frame. But what really makes this franchise, and especially this sequel, so great is the nostalgia that's incorporated into such a futuristic scenery. The soundtrack and these different songs are brought in at just the perfect times to go along with what's happening. There's even a couple of parts where Kurt Russell's character Ego actually references one of the songs on the tape that was left, of course, to Star-Lord by his mother. And it makes complete sense and goes along with the writing. I love the soundtrack, and just like I did with the first one, I will be getting the soundtrack to this sequel. Oh yeah, the ladies are gonna love Baby Groot. Baby Groot was funny. I enjoyed it, but of course the women in the screening I was in, every time he's on the screen, you hear a lot of you know how that goes. So yeah, Baby Groot, of course, people are gonna love him, but especially the kids and the women. I usually have a segment here at the end where I talk about the negatives. I have none. I have 0 negatives on this film. I try my best to think of at least one. I have no negatives. I love the movie. So yeah, go see the movie. Go see it. Yeah, if you like the first one, you were gonna go see it anyway. But if you had any doubts or anything, put those to the side. It's funny. There are laughs at every turn. There may have been maybe 2 or 3 misfires, but there aren't many. There's enough to keep you occupied. We know that I'm huge on the pacing of the film. The pacing is flawless. The movie clocks in, I believe, at about 2 hours and 20 minutes. Never got bored, never, got out of what was going on. I mean, I wasn't really into what was happening the entire running time up until the end of the actual credits. Oh, and it actually gets kind of emotional, which shocked me. That caught me off guard. But you'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. If you've already seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Kind of choked up pretty hard on one part. But just awesome. Great writing. Everything was good. So my rating for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is the perfect sequel. As far as sequels in any genre of film goes, this one right here is the blueprint, in my opinion. It was excellent. I dang near wanted to give it the masterpiece rating, but people get sensitive when I give that, so I left it alone. But as far as sequels go, it's perfect. I don't care what anyone says. I mean, this took everything from the first, made it better, and really got deeper. I loved it. I might actually slide out to see it again at some point while it's still at the theaters. But yeah, go see it. That's all I'll say. That concludes this review. My next review will be for whatever's coming out next week or the week after. We have finally reached my favorite time of the year, the summer movie season. I'll be dropping reviews probably every week to every other week. So until my next review, hey.